Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to my channel, Light of Shaya. My channel is all about illuminating the spiritual path forward and bringing you uplifting messages of love and light. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to those of you who are new, and welcome to those of you who are returning. Wow, already getting messages coming out of the Sacred Traveler Oracle deck. We have Navigating the Stars, Follow Your Bliss. This is one of my daily messages from Spirit to help for whoever. These are basically readings for whoever. To help people. If you're drawn to this video, there's likely a message here for you. But it says here, navigating by the stars, there's a sense of wonder, a sense of the unknown. And interestingly enough, the unknown seems to have a beauty to it. It's kind of, kind of like when you look up at the night sky in the darkness, there's all those stars above you. We have uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies great bounty. I'm being told to pull this one as well. View from above. Get the big picture. Wow. Okay. So you have a couple cards here that kind of make me think of big picture. And interestingly enough, I'm getting, okay, hold up. Look at this card here too. Passion and pleasure. Savor your life. So a lot of you are going to soon be stepping into feeling more passionate about your life and really just being able to experience the little things in life that make you grateful. All of the fantastic things that we take for granted, it looks like you're going to be savoring more and more. Whether it's eating your favorite dish or just eating in general, really paying attention to the foods, the texture, the flavors. Maybe you're enjoying your morning routine a little bit more because you're more present. You guys are going to be really stepping into this space of being able to truly enjoy life in all of its mundane. There's a word for it, but basically all of the mundane things in life are going to become pleasant to you. And I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that life is beautiful in the little things. Here we have view from above, so get the big picture. It's likely that you guys are starting to see your connection with the divine, or you're able to see certain situations from a different point of view. You could be seeing blessing in disguise. The reason I say blessing in disguise is because I have these two cards here that have big picture thinking and following your joy, your bliss, right? Looking at the bigger picture. And here it says uncovering treasure. Beneath the surface lies great bounty. So it's likely, the microcosm matches the macrocosm. If you guys are familiar with the Hermetic principles, go ahead and check those out if you're not familiar with them. There's an excellent book called The Kabbalion, which is a studying of the Hermetic principles. It's by, I think it's called The Three Initiates, or Three Initiates. Something along those lines. I'm not sure if the prefix is there. Prefix, is that the right word? I might be, no, I don't know if that's, no, there's another word for that. The basically. Anyway, I'm feeling a little bit chatty right now, as I'm sure you can tell. But, I'm going to pull some cards from the soul's journey here regarding emotions, things to work on, things to work through. What do we have here? This one. Service. I feel good when I can help others. Isn't that the truth? Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Wow, that's a really interesting card. Blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. Okay, lots of yellows here. So solar plexus chakra may need some work here for some of us. But that's a very interesting. And right beneath that, look, we have love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. That's really what love is, being able to see things. Duality is something that exists here in the 3D. It's part of the spiritual nature of the universe. This duality is another one of the Hermetic principles. For every positive, there's a negative, etc. So being able to really look at the big picture and what your role in that big picture is. We have the service card here, which speaks of service, being of service to others. So as I've said before, likely those of you watching are light workers or starseeds, that kind of nature. For those of you who are familiar with those terms. I do want to say that I wouldn't get too attached to titles, only because they end up harming us sometimes because the ego likes to hold on to things and create constructs and ideas about ourselves that aren't necessarily the best for us. With envy here, it says, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Now, that's a very interesting message there, because envy is about wanting what another person has, right? And so I think what this card is trying to say is that oftentimes when we envy others for the status or whatever it is that they have that we don't have, it's not there. It is a reflection of you in a sense, yes, of course. I think what is important is the awareness around envy, and the fact that this isn't a race. Your journey doesn't look anything like mine, or like Joe Schmo, or like your mom's, or daughter, I don't know, family member, friend. Everybody's journey is unique. And just because somebody is in a place that you would like to be doesn't mean that you can't achieve that. It's a matter of really shifting perspectives here. Once again, getting the big picture. When you start to see all the blessings in life here, when you start following your joy, your heart, love, what it is that you love to do, that envy starts to dissipate, because you start to realize that you bring something unique to the table, something that is exclusively you. And that's the most precious thing that there is being able to express yourself to others in a way that is authentically you and have that celebrated. With the blame card here, it says, I accept responsibility for my well-being. That's incredibly important when you want to manifest. What are the things that you're trying to manifest into your life? What are the ideas that you have about what life should look like? I'm going to be using the Lights Here Tarot today. I accept responsibility for my well-being. In the end, the one thing that we do have control over in our lives is our emotions. Our emotions are our feelings. Our feelings are really what we have control over at the end of the day. Now, of course, feelings can come through very strongly sometimes, and granted, we do need some time to allow ourselves to feel those feelings. I'm not saying that anybody should be suppressing whatever feelings that they may have, because it's not a healthy behavior. I used to practice that back in the day when I was actually before my awakening. I wasn't the kind of person that liked crying. I thought crying was a form of weakness. I thought that to shed tears was a form of weakness. And I see now how foolish that is in retrospect, because I was carrying that toxicity within at all times. And one day I exploded. I had a mental breakdown. I was wailing at the top of my lungs. It was as if everything caved in around me and I had no escape. And it was because I had been suppressing these feelings for a very long time. And interestingly enough, that was around the time that I was suffering from severe insomnia, averaging maybe 2 to 3 hours a night. I was lucky if I got 5 hours of sleep sometimes. It was incredibly bad. It was one of the most painful experiences I had. Not being able to sleep is incredibly painful. Consistently. And once in a while, it's like, I could deal with 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours, whatever you guys, everybody has their own sleeping schedule, But it was because I was suppressing my feelings. And so I have to accept my responsibility for my well-being. And likewise, you should too. So let's go ahead and get into this tarot reading. I'm really fond of this spread that I took some inspiration from some other people, but I really was wondering, I have not I wouldn't say an obsession, but more of a fascination with patterns, with cycles, because we enter these cycles for a reason, and every cycle is an opportunity to learn. And sometimes we don't pick up the lessons from the past or for the current cycle that we're in. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. My messages from Spirit yesterday for the date of, it should have been published, I believe, the 22nd of June. Anyhow, I used a very similar style. Now, for those of you who are interested in that particular reading, it was about a proper burial to old patterns, old ideas. And It was a very stern video for me. It was more direct for those of you who like not necessarily a tough love, but the cold, harsh truth, if you will. I would recommend it, and I did share some of my experiences there regarding third party and how destructive that is. Because at the end of the day, if you're in third party situations, and remember, third party doesn't mean especially when you're dealing with a person, third party doesn't always have to mean another romantic person. Like a love triangle, sometimes third party could be a person who's in love with their job, so to speak, or is more focused on money and those kind of things. So basically, at the end of the day, third party is almost like a sense of emotional unavailability. And every person that comes into your life serves a purpose. And so that's kind of what that video was about letting go of victim mentalities and breaking free from the patterns and allowing the past to be in the past. If you've experienced these things before, what can you do now to escape from it? So I highly recommend that video because it's very direct, it's very honest, and I share things. It's very raw, if you will. So let's go ahead and see where your current circumstances circumstances are. We have the Two of Pentacles. Give me a second. I'm going to take a sip of water. For whatever reason, my throat's kind of clogging up. We got might be a throat chakra issue. Interestingly enough, we have the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I really was hoping this wouldn't turn into another love reading. We will see shortly, though, because I'm kind of tired of love readings. I'm really getting into more of the spiritual nature of things lately, because love is important. Don't get me wrong, guys. Love is incredibly important. But you loving yourself is so much more important than loving somebody else, frankly. So currently with the Two of Pentacles, there seems to be some indecision. Likely you guys are trying to balance out things in your life. I'm noticing the this is like cold, hard pentacle versus ethereal, not so real pentacle. You guys might be trying to balance reality and the ethereal, or kind of like trying to bring your ideas into the physical, if that makes sense. I'm getting that strongly, oddly enough. But this is also two options to choose from. Or balancing in general, balancing out your lives. It's likely that you're trying to balance out your finances right now with the two, because this is about pentacles. Some of you may be trying to balance, work and home life a little more effectively. What are past patterns here? Interesting. We got the Six of Wands here. So past patterns here. I'm getting, is adulation the word? Maybe a need for attention with the Six of Wands. Usually this is a very positive card. I got the word validation, maybe need for validation. Some of you may have had past patterns regarding to a need for validation of some sort, of needing attention. Because if you look at this card here, she's standing in front of a crowd, and there's a need for all of these hands to be reaching out for her. Yeah, it's almost like a sense, maybe there's a past pattern regarding a need for attention of some sort. I'll likely clarify that one a little bit later, but what needs to be accepted in the current circumstances for our viewers here? Interesting. Two of Cups is wanting to come out, man. We also have the King of Swords, though, that came attached to that card, though. King of Cups at the bottom of the deck now. Give me a second here. I'm trying to interpret this because it's okay. So some of you may be dealing with the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. That's a soulmate connection. I was hoping this reading wouldn't turn into love again, but here you guys go. For those of you who are wondering about love, then again, it doesn't have to be love. It could be a friendship of some sort. Maybe you have a friendship that's very deep with a King of Swords kind of person, somebody who's very cool, calm, collected, somebody who's very logical, somebody who is an excellent conversationalist, looks at the cold, hard facts. Or this could be... because this is about the need to accept something. There's a need for you likely to accept. The King of Swords tends to be emotionally detached because he's so logical, he's so cool, he's so calm. He looks at things objectively. He looks at them and he says, this doesn't work this way because of XYZ thing. They formulate. A King of excuse me, not King of Wands. King of Swords is a form of just logic. There's a lot of logic involved. There's a lot of thinking, clear thinking, trying to get to the cold hard facts of a situation, of a scenario, of a person. When you're looking at people, it's about thoughts. It's about looking at thoughts and maybe seeing some sort of soulmate connection clearly. There may be a need for clarity, or there needs to be some sort of clarity, because the swords does speak of clarity as well. Or what needs to be accepted is that somebody needs to detach themselves from a soulmate connection. Well, I'll get into that in a minute here with clarifying. I'll be using the Thoth deck a little bit later. But what lesson regarding the past does our viewer need to know about? Keep in mind, guys, this could be a lesson you've already learned and you're very familiar with it. Or this could be a lesson that you've overlooked that you need to take a look at. Justice. Okay, so Libra is coming through very strongly here. This is a sign of Libra. We do have an air sign here. I believe the King of Swords is looked at as Aquarius, but this could likely be a Libra that you're dealing with. Balance. There seems to be something about balance here, a lesson regarding balance. There's a lesson regarding balance in situations, balance in... I mean, the fact that there's a soulmate connection here is making me think there needs to be some sort of balance regarding a soulmate connection, or in the past, some sort of, because we are talking about also the Six of Wands here, some sort of balance in terms of how much exposure you give to people, or like how much attention you give to people, or some of you may be dealing with legal issues or had dealt with a legal issue in the past. Maybe your King of Swords it could be like a divorce from a Two of Cups soulmate, needing to accept the divorce for what it is and part separate ways, or understand that you'll always have feelings for this person, but detaching from it. That's an interesting message. Okay, what is the current lesson for our viewers here? Ooh, quite a few different... Okay, this is really interesting. Normally, I wouldn't pull these three cards, but there seems to be some conjunction between the two. Or three, rather. So two of them happen to be tens. Let me show you here. The Wheel, Ten of Swords. So the current lesson is about moving forward after endings. This lesson is about, because the wheel speaks of movement, some of you may be dealing with the Sagittarius. So interestingly enough, the lessons that you guys need to learn currently is Major Arcana, and the past lesson was about Major Arcana as well. So these are highly spiritual lessons. These aren't day-to-day activities that you need to focus on. But interestingly enough, the fact that we have two tens signify the ending of a cycle. The current lesson is about moving forward after endings, and with the Nine of Pentacles here, claiming your independence. Claiming your independence, focusing on yourself, loving yourself, taking care of yourself. Because in the Nine of Pentacles, I mean, look at how happy she is. She's ecstatic. She's just enjoying herself. I mean, granted, there is a bird there, but she's like, I mean, the bird could represent thoughts. It's almost like manifesting the physical through thought, because I'm seeing the way that bird is hanging onto that pentacle, which is almost like heaven sent. Interesting. The wheel also speaks of fate and good luck, good fortune. It could be bad luck as well, given the sense of Ten of Wheels, Ten of Swords, 10, or the Wheel of Fortune. Gosh, getting all tongue-tied here. This could have been a very bad turn of luck. You may have had a very bad turn of luck with the wheel, because the wheel is always turning, and with the Ten of Swords here, this is as shitty as things can get for you, essentially. But the question is, how do you get yourself from this very horrid energy of bad luck and oh my God, woe is me, everything hurts right now, into this? How do you cultivate yourself through these painful endings? Wow. Whew. Okay, I like that message. trajectory, future here for our viewers. What is in the future now that they have this knowledge? Okay, Knight of Pentacles. That King of Cups keeps on wanting to come out. You may be dealing with the water sign in terms of this Two of Cups here. Knight of Pentacles. Water signs are, for those of you who don't know, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Knight of Cups. Interesting. Two knights. So Knight of Pentacles speaks of moving very slowly. The Knight of Pentacles is extremely methodical in his approach, to the point of being boring. This guy has his finances in line by having some sort of plan that he thought out, that he wrote down, that he's implemented, and now he's slowly moving towards it. This is the person who just looks at things very methodically, is very practical, moves very slowly, almost appearing as if to not move at all. That's really interesting. So let's go ahead and start clarifying here some of these cards. I don't need to clarify the current lesson. We already understand what the heck that's about. But let's look at the future, and let's look at the what needs to be accepted here, because I'm a little bit curious about that. If you guys are enjoying the content so far, please do hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel out with its growth, and it allows me to deliver these messages to more people who are just like you, who are looking for a little bit of clarity in their lives. It's greatly appreciated. This is basically my life's work here. My desire is to help as many people as possible. All right. Who is this King of Swords? Let's get a card here for the King of Swords. What is the King of Swords? Is this a person? Is this an energy? Is this a way of looking at things? What is this King of Swords doing here? Hermit. Okay. The Hermit, this is Virgo energy. So this could be an air sign with Earth in their chart, vice versa. The Hermit speaks of introspection. It's about walking away, it's like isolating yourself. It's isolating yourself from the world and looking for your truth, looking for the truth in a situation, or some illumination, because the Hermit carries the lamp forward. Interesting. So looking at, okay, so somebody currently needs, what they need to accept is that there is a need for likely separation between you two, I'm getting. Simply because, for those of you dealing with the soulmate connection, yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness. What the heck? I was hoping this wouldn't be a love reading all over again, but here we go, you guys. We have 3 twos now with the Two of Swords. Two of Swords speaks of not being able to see a situation clearly. And I was moving on into the Two of Cups, clarifying. There seems to be some sort of indecision or some sort of blockage of the heart, likely. Because in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's a person with a blindfold on who has who's holding the swords. Let me see if I could find it. Holding the swords with a blindfold. If you guys are familiar with tarot, then you know what this is about. Interestingly enough, there's the Fools at the bottom of the Light Seer Tarot here. Maybe a leap of faith in a new direction, and a brand new beginning. Well, I mean, this isn't the traditional Rider-Waite, but you can kind of see how she's usually the heart space is closed off in a cross, if you will. So they're like crossed arms. I can't really show you. But anyway, this could signify a closing off of the heart space that would really be in congruence here with the King of Swords. This could be you. This could be a person, and you need to accept the situation for what it is. Interestingly enough, we have the Knight of Cups here, which is also the King of Cups in the Thoth deck. Somebody with a lot of love, likely somebody who's a romantic at heart, somebody who wants to ground love into reality. But the Two of Swords is there, so it's almost like this energy is being blocked off somehow, or there may be a decision needing to be made. This could be a decision between two soulmates. I'm not sure why I got that. Well, it's likely I'm getting that because the Two of Cups is being clarified by the Two of Cups again. We do have the Emperor here. Some of you could be dealing with an Aries. So somebody with heavy water in their chart, somebody with air. We have Libra here, Sagittarius with the wheel. We have Aquarius or Gemini, Libra, Aquarius with the King of Swords, Virgo with the Hermit. The Emperor is about control. It's about stability. It's about logic. It's about detaching oneself. This seems to be once again in congruence with the King of Swords. The King of Swords is somebody who's very analytical, very detached, somebody who tries to look at things objectively and doesn't like getting emotion involved. Somebody is needing to go within to figure this out, or somebody decided to figure this out, and this needs to be accepted. This could be your energy. This could be the person that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a friend likely has been struggling right now in their life, and they're trying to find balance within, and the way that they're going to do this is by going away for a while. So if you don't hear about them, they might even communicate, because the King of Swords, they might even communicate, hey, I need some time to myself. I need to really go within and try and figure some things out. And maybe there's a decision that they have to make regarding a love connection that they have. And maybe this is a really close friend of yours and you're not really sure what's going on between you two. For those of you who aren't dealing with love. But I'm getting this as heavy love because, come on, Two of Cups here in the Thoth deck, the word love is what the Two of Cups is about. So somebody here is likely holding back feelings. There's the Two of Swords, the Emperor, especially in that combination, and even with the King of Swords here, there just seems to be some sort of blockage here with your person or yourself. This could be you. Remember, guys, energies go vice versa. But what the lesson is in this removal from this, because it's likely this was fated with the wheel, is that through painful endings, you're supposed to learn how to cultivate yourself. It's like your plan B, so to speak. So if you're ever in a love connection, the idea is that when you're in a love connection, you should always prioritize yourself, even if you're with somebody you love. And this is an interesting idea because both of you are autonomous, both of you are independent. Now, if you guys are familiar with narcissism, the narcissist empath a relationship, what happens with the narcissist empath relationship is that the empath falls for the narcissist because they get love bombed, so to speak. They get swept off their feet because this person comes in rapidly, likely making promises right off the bat, and there is a sense of the narcissist feeling gaining control through emotion, right? Because the empath is deep feeling. The empath feels very, very deeply. And so they fall in love for the narcissist, and then the narcissist ends up abusing them in some way by demeaning them, by taking them away from their friends, by then creating conflict and saying, well, when the empath stands up for themselves, usually what will end up happening with the empath is that their argument gets invalidated by the narcissist because the narcissist is unable to see their flaws. The moment a flaw is pointed out, they get very upset. So I'm going to clarify the Knight of Pentacles here. And basically what I'm talking about here is that this may be in regards of money. A little more clarity. Ace of Cups. What the heck? This immediately turned into a love reading. What the heck? Star Magician. Well, at the end of the day, what really comes down to is codependency. That's basically what I was getting to. Codependency is a very toxic pattern to have because essentially when you fall in love with the person, what ends up happening is that you become dependent upon them for your happiness. And this is a no-go. This is not a healthy behavior to have. With the Nine of Pentacles, this ending likely was fated in order for you to step into your this is the pre-empress, so to speak. So this is the walled off garden. You're confident within yourself. You're cultivating yourself. You're happy by yourself because you know that you hold everything within you to be happy. And the reason I say this is the pre-empress energy is because the empress, and look at this, interestingly enough, we do have the emperor speaking about the empress. So when it's dealing with the soulmate connection, for some of you, this may be twin flame. Once again, I always advocate to not attach yourself to the titles. I used to tell myself, I had met my twin flame, and there was a whole like romanticism behind it, and it actually was very destructive for me. So I no longer really like the term twin flame anymore, because I realized how much I romanticized it. Even soulmate is another one of those, but those work a little bit different. But anyway, I was clarifying the Knight of Pentacles here, and more cards came out than I expected. But the idea here is that you need to become whole within yourself, because two halves, the idea is sometimes with couples is that two halves make a whole unit. But the reality is it's not half and half. Half of a person coming together with another half of the person, although this usually happens in our pretty commonly nowadays. But the idea is that each person should be an individual, and then they come together to share their individuality. So no matter what happens in the relationship, both people feel independent, both of them feel strong. There's no need for control in the relationship. It's just flowing with the relationship in the moment and allowing it to be. The issue with the narcissist empath situation is that clearly the narcissist is like an energy vampire, and they take energy from you rather consistently, right? And then the moment that they realize that you're done, that you're spent, they move on to something else, because they need fresh blood. They need a common supply. And eventually what will happen is the empath has a distorted view of love now, because of the amount of damage that the narcissist has caused to them, and is needing to restructure their entire ideas of what love looks like. And so oftentimes what will happen is that the empath becomes very defensive and begins to look at certain situations in a very different light than the average person. Is this person out to get me? Is this person out to hurt me? Is this person must be lying? There must be something wrong with them. For whenever you meet somebody that's a decent human being, and you're like, oh, there has to be something underneath the surface. This is a very toxic mentality, for one. But two, this is actually another form of codependency. Because it's almost like it's seeking validation. Maybe that's what that validation card is about with the Six of Wands. That's why I was getting validation. Maybe that's what that's about. But there's a need for okay. Anyway, so I'm kind of going rambling here. For those of you who understand what I'm talking about, those of you who have suffered the abuse of a narcissist, you'll know what I'm talking about. And there's a need for you to understand that it's good to enter the King of Swords. The archetype, tapping into the archetype of the King of Swords. It's good to do that when looking at love, so it allows you to look at it objectively. But how far is too far? When do you become completely detached from everything, and then you don't allow yourself to feel, or you stuff those feelings down and you say, no, this is not how I feel. So for some of you, you may be experiencing this. I'm not sure why I went on a pretty deep tangent there, but that basically at the end of the day, what this lesson is currently, especially with this soulmate connection you guys are dealing with, it's about finding happiness within yourself. This envy card and blame, it's about letting go of blame. It's about letting go of envy, especially when it comes to, like, if some of you have been single for quite a while, because the Knight of Pentacles does mean you're single. Interestingly enough, we also have the Magician, which is another single card here. My brain is really scattered with all the messages that I'm trying to get out right now. I lost my train of thought. But the idea here is that with blame, there's a need to let go of blame. There's a need to let go of blaming you, about blaming others, and radically accepting things. That's a really big thing right now for me, is radical acceptance, looking at something and saying, that's just the way it is. That's the way it played out, or that's the way things are. But what can I do about it now? And that's what this ending is about. How can you rise into your Knight of Pentacles status, that feeling that you get when you're self-actualized? And with the Empress, that's just the next step after that. You'll start to really love yourself and cultivate yourself, and then you'll become in love with loving yourself. Okay? And then that from that space, you're able to allow somebody who will love you just as much as you love yourself. So let's clarify this Knight of Pentacles here. We have the Four of Discs. Interestingly enough, this card is called Power. Something about power here, especially with the Emperor. That's another number 4 card. 4 is about stability. The number 4 is about stability, and we do have 2, 2, 2. Some of you may be seeing 2, 2, 2. We got 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 2 is about cooperation, about working together with somebody. Of course, with the 2 of Cups here, about love, friendship, about building a connection with somebody else. We also have the number 11 over here, and we have 2 10s. That's 1111 right there. So this is a highly spiritual lesson. This is a very a spiritual reading and there's a lot of very spiritual lessons here for you. So anyway, something about holding on. The Knight of Pentacles is about being very slow, methodical in their approach. This is likely maybe trying to build stability, financially speaking, or holding on to money too much. The Four of Pentacles, also in the traditional tarot, is a picture of a man holding back, clutching to a coin, which could very well mean having a closed off heart space, which would be in conjunction here with the Two of Swords, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Maybe somebody's being very reserved about their money at this time. There might be money concerns, and somebody's holding on to money in a way that's not necessarily the healthiest expression. We have the Ace of Cups. So one ace here in the reading so far. This card speaks of new love, of new potential in love. Somebody might be moving very slowly towards a new potential in love. They've been holding on to the idea of love. We have another one here, the Magician, the Magus, in this particular deck, is about manifesting. There is some sort of manifestation work being done here towards new love, likely. Somebody holding on to the idea, likely, of love and wanting to manifest it into their lives. A new beginning after a time of holding back, maybe. We have the Prince of Swords, which in this deck, the princes are the knights, essentially. So this could be a very fast, quick-moving energy. This could be somebody who's very brash, makes very impulsive decisions. They go from 0 to 60 very quickly. It's just a sudden, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run at it. I'm just going to commit everything. This is also an obsessive energy. This could be obsessive in nature. Obsessive in nature. It could also be anger for some people. This could be about anger. Healing anger with the star here. Maybe this is about healing anger, healing impulsiveness on your part, or on your soulmate's part here, your friend's part. There's some sort of healing being done about jumping into things or moving into things much too quickly, because that's the Knight of Pentacles is the opposite of the Knight of Swords. So this might be an idea or a pattern that is being healed of being too impulsive, too quick to move into things. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to pull some messages from the angels here. It's likely some of you may be manifesting a new love into your life, and they're going to come in very quickly. Or there's a need to hold on to hope for a situation, maybe, because the star does speak about hope. Orion wanted to come out there. So that card's about manifesting miracles. Actually, Ace of Cups, Magician, Star, manifesting miracles. Following your bliss, getting the big... Maybe you guys are seeing the big picture about this. Maybe that's what the King of Swords Hermit energy is about, is seeing the big picture about a situation. And this is actually very healing for you and your soulmate, or soulmate person, whatever, you and your person. And interestingly enough, the Uncovering Treasure card is very Virgo-like. I'm getting that sense of the Hermit. So the card at the bottom of the deck was Count Your Blessings that I pulled. The other two cards that fell out, I'll show you in a second. But bottom of the deck, we have Focus Your Mind. There's a need for focus here on your priorities. That's what the Nine of Pentacles is about. What are you prioritizing, guys? What is your priority here? The priority should always be you. You're number one. You're always going to be number one in your life. Prioritize yourself, and then everything else comes after that. Interestingly enough, we have, I had three cards here. I didn't even, oh, wow, I haven't seen this one before. Okay, so I'm just a little bit surprised here. Guys, look at the synchronicity, though. I told you earlier the Fool is at the bottom of the deck, and there's Leap of Faith. Do you guys see the congruence in these two cards? I just want to make sure you guys can see these. Isn't that sick? Leap of Faith. I'm ready to take a leap, angels. Thank you for doing it with me. Wow. And below the Fool is Death, Transformation, and then we have the Knight of Cups here. this brand new beginning may be very transformative to you. Some of you may be dealing with the Scorpio. Knight of Cups is a very romantic energy. It's a very sweet, almost, I don't want to say naive, because the page is more naive than it's more like the Knight of Cups is more romantic in nature, more adult like, though. Like, he's the kind of guy who would have a candlelit dinner with you. Very romantic in nature. This is a very romantic way of looking at love. So maybe taking a leap of faith towards a water sign, or because we have Scorpio here, and we do have the Two of Cups twice. We have the Knight of Cups too, the King, or in other words, the King of Cups. But anyway, taking a leap of faith here, in a new direction, guys. Once again, this could be future energies. This is a general reading. This could be a prediction of the future of where things are going between you and a person. This could be a brand new soulmate coming into your life, and there's a need for you to be, I don't want to say guarded. Guarded isn't the right word, but more discerning about who you let in, so to speak. Interestingly enough, though, I'm seeing here that in conjunction with envy and blame, the miracle of forgiveness. This is the card that I hadn't seen come out of the what is it? Power of the Angels? I forget what the name of this particular deck is. My apologies, guys. Thank you, Jeremiah, for helping me understand the process of forgiveness. Wow. That's so, I mean, look at this card. I get such a sense of peace just looking at this card. That's beautiful. So what is forgiveness, guys? I think part of forgiveness is radical acceptance of a situation and asking yourself, what part did you play in this? If you played in any sort of, I was mentioning third party situations earlier. What part did you play? For example, if let's say you fell for a married man or woman, whatever your preference is, and you know this person is married, but you're still kind of like holding out hope that he'll leave his wife for you. I can't blame you guys. I get it. But there's a sense about the unobtainable that makes it more desirable. It's almost kind of, in a sense, a chase. But this causes a great deal of pain. It causes us a great deal of pain. There's no sense in giving into that situation. Maybe that's what the Justice card is about. Some of you may have gotten out of a relationship, or like had a divorce with somebody who may have stepped out of a marriage for a few of you. And maybe this is a new energy coming in, or reconcile. I don't really get. It might be reconciling with the miracle of forgiveness. But guys, if you don't feel that way about your ex-partner, then listen to that, because that's your feelings, your intuition. Now, it is important for you to forgive this person, because forgiveness is incredibly important, because it helps you release blame for what happened to you. Although I do like to say that it happens for you, not to you, because this is a very big spiritual lesson for you. Now, the next card here that is really in conjunction with this reading that I'm getting about healing and love and opening yourself up to new possibilities, because that's really what's happening here. By becoming more independent and in love with yourself, you open your heart to yourself and for somebody else to love you in that same manner. We have Archangel Chamuel. Thank you, Chamuel, for removing the barriers around my heart. Through forgiveness, we help expand our heart. We help expand our heart. And I didn't really go into this, because I just saw these three cards had come out before, and this one I pulled from the bottom of the deck. So I really wanted to get to these, because there seems to be a congruence between this here. But we have count your blessings. One of the biggest things that I've been advocating lately is having gratitude for pretty much everything. And I mean radically everything. And being thankful for it doesn't mean that you should continue allowing something bad. But what is the lesson behind the bad? And being thankful for the lesson, not necessarily the crappy thing that happened to you. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lesson to be learned there. And being thankful for the lesson, the opportunity to learn that and break the pattern, is one of the most satisfying feelings that you could get. Because it's like, I'm free. It's like you can breathe all over again. Leap of faith here. Moving in a brand new direction, understanding that certain things happen for a reason, and understanding that instead of making ourselves victims of these situations, count your blessings. Forgive the people that may have hurt you in the past. Open your heart up, because that's the highest energy of all. It's the energy of source. Love is everything. It's in everything. It's our being. It's our core. That's what we're designed to do as souls, is just be love. And then the spiritual journey is really trying to merge with the all. In other words, merge with love. Become more love. Become loving of all people. You know, there's sometimes I hear people saying like, oh, I can't wait to be in a relationship with somebody who, like, in a sense, hates people the way I do. and I find that funny because this mentality also breeds the idea that there's hatred between the two of them. Because why would you, and you're also repelling people in that sense, because why would you hate people and then expect somebody to approach you? Because people can sense the hatred you have for everybody. How do you know that your soulmate isn't one of the people that you look at and you say, ew, you know, or like they're in a group and you generalize them and you say, I can't believe those people, fuck them, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your soulmate's in between them and you just haven't recognized it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's funny how that works. It doesn't really work that way, you know, because you attract more of what you are. Because interestingly enough, there is duality, but one of the many laws in the Hermetic principles with the law of duality is that we also attract, like does attract like, on a smaller scale. But there's a sense of, wow, okay, signs from heaven wanted to come out there. I was kind of just, speak your truth. Okay, interesting. Maybe somebody has to speak their truth. Somebody needs to open up to the endless possibilities here. But the idea here is, you guys, forgiveness, opening the heart, really just opening up your experience to love. Just love. Just to love. Be. Just be. You know, here's another card that speaks about love. You got the love card at the bottom of the soul's journey. I mean, look at the congruences in this. We got the Fool here that corresponds with the leap of faith. We have passion and pleasure, savor your life. That goes in conjunction with the count your blessings. We have love here, which is in conjunction here or in correspondence with the open your heart. Like this seems to be a very powerful lesson for you viewers right now. There's a need for savoring life as it is. You're being single, if you're single, and if you're not single and in relationship, becoming more independent in your relationship if you feel you aren't. And your significant other, if they love you, they will empower you. They will never disempower you. They would never want to disempower you. They would actually look forward to seeing your growth. A true partner would love to see you grow as a human being alongside them. And building together. One of the things that I heard recently from one of the channels that I watch, Soulful Revolution, was, goodness, how did she say this? Mary Jo, the creator of that channel, she said, all right, so I have to pause the video because I got so caught up in my thoughts that I forgot what I was saying about the whole message for Mary Jo, but then it came to me. So basically what I was trying to say was, if you're with a partner, they'd be more than happy, of course, to be with you and to watch you grow. But the idea here is that they would recognize that a relationship isn't always easy in a sense, because it's always a process of growth. Like a lot of our thoughts and beliefs about love are actually a bit skewed, because she was talking about the whole happily ever after, the Disney picture of what love looks like. And you know what? I think at one point in my life I was really guilty of that, even up to a certain degree up until recently. And realizing that that's not how love works, because it's very ungrounded. It's unrealistic. Like, it's not to say that it is impossible for you to like have an instant connection that flows very easily with a person. I mean, I've had those before, and in the past. That's usually how soulmate connections work. But sometimes the idea here is that relationship takes work to really work on the connection and allow it to thrive. Because if there's stagnation, eventually that stagnation turns into boredom or some sort of problem. There's always a problem that comes from refusing to change, refusing to transform. And the idea here is that relationships are much the same way. When we're independent, we should always be focusing on ourselves and our growth. But when you come into a union with somebody else, a partnership, the idea is to maintain your sovereignty and your independence, but you both are independent parties working on each other and with each other. You're working on yourselves, and on top of that, you're working to build with each other. And oftentimes what will happen in relationships is that your partner will mirror something back to you that you don't like. And instead of seeing that as like, oh my God, this is like my deal breaker, this is a situation I don't want to ever have to deal with, it's more eventually love becomes more mature, and it says, okay, well, how do we address this situation? And clearly, if your partner is a good quality partner, they'll say, you know what, let's have a conversation about this because I think this is important. If you both are in love with each other, these conversations can happen. And granted, sometimes they can get heated. It's okay for things to get heated sometimes, but there's a need for understanding at the end of the day, understanding between two people, two adults, two people who want to build a life together, you know? Anyway, that message came through very strongly for me because it's funny how this turned into a relationship reading. Like I purposely was like trying to like not make this about love, and then boom, it's just like, come on, I can't deny this is about love for you guys. So some of you may have gone through some sort of ending with somebody from the past, definitely, of course, duh, because this is past tense, right? With the Ten of Swords and all that having happened, part of the lesson of learning that. But either you're going to end up forgiving this person and going back with them for whoever this resonates with, and the other option here, or the other idea, is that you're going to heal past this. You're going to let this go. You're gonna learn to forgive yourself for having put yourself into a certain situation, and then forgiving the other person, and then you can move forward in a new direction with the Fool here, and that's where the Ace of Cups comes in. But I'm getting heavy for whatever reason. This almost feels like a past energy, especially with the Two of Cups being current. So some of you may be in separation with this person. I don't know. I'm not really seeing. The only thing I'm seeing here was that there was some sort of painful ending and a bad stroke of luck, so to speak. And this is helping you propel you forward in your spiritual journey forward, like yourself, cultivating yourself. So anyway, I think this is where I'm going to have to end the reading. I mean, I kind of blabbered on a little bit there, but once again, my channel is all about illuminating the spiritual path forward. This is all about the spirituality that revolves love. It's not just about the love and about pining for the person. It's about figuring out, how do you get to the person? How do you get your person eventually? If this isn't your person, as somebody that you're dealing with with the past, who's the next person to come in, right? Somebody who's worthy of your time, somebody who loves you unconditionally. You'll attract them by being in your power and being happy within yourself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you enjoyed the content, please do hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel out. And I am sending you much love and light. Take care.